Now, Afghanistan's been at war for fucking ever. They were invaded by Russia in the 70s. Russia made a move into Afghanistan because the guy who was running the place was he was a Marxist, and they wanted to keep a communist kind of regime in there. So they went in there to secure that. CIA went right in, got in bed with the drug lords, and began to fight a war against Russia. Now, at that time, all of the opium in Afghanistan was being taken from Afghanistan over into Pakistan. At that time, they reported that Pakistan was now producing about 63% of the world's heroin. Heroin factories popped up all along the Afghani-Pakistan border. Now, that has never ended. I can't imagine it's ever ended. Now, Afghanistan has become ravaged by war. All of their crops, all of their herds, all of their water supply has been decimated by war. And by the end of the time when the Russians were there, the Afghanis really had nothing else to do but grow opium. Everything else had been destroyed, and for them to be able to make a living, they had to continue to grow opium. So the CIA has effectively changed Afghanistan into the world's leading opium producer. Now, over the years, Afghanistan became more and more of a supplier of opium to the world. From, 20%, 50%, now they're saying it's 98% of the world's opium supply. Now, what I wonder about though is what happened to the other countries that were producing 50% when Afghanistan was producing 50%. Afghanistan's goes up. Did these countries just go away and not? No, they didn't. They're still producing opium. All these places, Burma, Myanmar it's called now, Mexico, Colombia. Colombia never used to produce opium, but they were introduced to it by someone. So they do now. Mexico. See, back in 1972, Richard Nixon was the very first one to declare war on drugs. And one of the very first things he did was to go to Turkey, who produced a lot of opium at the time, and destroyed the opium production in Turkey. Now, what that did was it made opium go out all over the world, and many other countries now produce it. So it's all about that. Now, at home, when people are starting to talk about legalizing marijuana, a few weeks ago, the University of Massachusetts applied to whoever to get cannabis to do research on it. It was the DEA who said no. The DEA gets to say no about science. Now, of course, they don't want to let loose of marijuana. If marijuana gets legalized, people are going to say, hey, this makes much more sense. Why do we have any prohibitions? Maybe we should legalize cocaine and heroin too. Well, they don't want that. CIA, DEA don't want it. They cannot afford it. Drugs represent the third highest amount of money traded on the planet. Oil, guns, and drugs. There's too much money involved for them to stop. Where are they going to get this money to fight their little wars if they don't have cocaine and heroin to sell? It's absolutely atrocious. Marijuana leaf has become the image of drugs in the Western world. When they say somebody's on drugs, they put up even though it might have been crack cocaine, might have been heroin, they still say, it was drugs, it was drugs. Put up a marijuana leaf. So, it's ugly business that's going on behind this. There's no question about it. And it's very difficult for us to get out from under it. Now, the only chink in their armor here seems to be medicinal marijuana. They cannot ignore the people who are sick. But you can see here in Canada how Stephen Harper has glommed onto this ideology of war, war, war. It doesn't matter what it is. Drug war, war in the Middle East, war anywhere. Big business, good for business. He started building prisons before he introduced this bill. These people have such an agenda. They just want to put people in jail, make their fat cat friends richer, and get set up for themselves for life. They don't care about the Canadian people at all. So here's what I encourage you to do. This bill is just the worst thing that they could possibly come up with, and they are going to ram it. They want to ram it through Parliament. You heard Rob Nicholson say, we're going to do it, we're going to do it, we're going to do it. This is what these guys are all about. They won't answer a question. They are totally corrupt. But here's what you got to do. You can go to the government webpage here in Canada and you can find the email of every single member of parliament, every single senator there is. And I encourage you to do this and write them all a letter telling them how you do not support this and you will not support them. These people care about votes. You have got to tell them that they will not get any votes anymore if they go ahead with this. Also remind the senators that their own esteemed colleagues 9 years ago suggested and demanded that marijuana be made legal in this country, and that has summarily been ignored. I would suggest that you let them know that you know that too. Now, it's worth the effort. I wrote a letter to Bob Rae. The Liberals have come out against this. Now, they've done this politically because they don't have a leg to stand on, and this is the only issue that exists at the moment, so they're yapping about it. I'm really disappointed with the NDP. Don't know what happened to any of those people. They have been absolutely silent on this. So Bob Rae's come out and he said the drug war is an absolute failure. Now, he's right. I wrote him a letter and I said, thanks, keep this up. This is the exact tack that you should be on to become Prime Minister. You want to be the most loved and remembered Prime Minister in history? Then fight this bill, get marijuana legalized in our country. So, I don't know what we can do to stop this. We can only appeal to these people that sit in our government as human beings. They are not machines. They do have consciences, and you've got to put this stuff into their head to let them know that we know what they're doing. Now, I urge you to do this, folks. You got to. Go to cannabisculture.com, go to whyprohibition.ca. Both of these pages will lead you right to all the political activism that you can get into. freemark.ca too. There's a thing going on in the United States right now where the White House is calling for issues to be discussed, and they are offering petitions to get signatures, and there is a petition out there to pardon Mark Emery, it's called. Go to the Cannabis Culture on the front page, they'll give you a link to get to it. American or Canadian, I urge you to go there and sign the petition. You need 5,000 signatures to get it on the roster to be talked about. Now, marijuana is some of the top issues there are, and we certainly want to get Mark up there and get this discussed. So I urge you to go and check that out and participate in it. We can't just sit back, even though we think marijuana is okay, and we know that it is. There are people who do want to put you in jail, but not because you're bad, but because they're greedy. So you got to be careful about this. The greed overwhelms these people, and they will do anything. They're completely addicted to the money that is being passed around this world because of prohibition. Now, I appreciate you tuning in. We've got another web channel here on YouTube, Pot TV Grow Show. I've been doing shows for a very long time here now, and there's lots of them are on that page. I encourage you to go take a look. Lots of good grow information and my adventures around the world. So I encourage you to go to freemark.ca, get the info there to write Mark a letter. He really appreciates it, and it keeps him sane and alive, I'm absolutely sure. There couldn't be anything better you could do than to write him a letter telling him what you're doing to help stop this stupid cannabis prohibition. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you have great days. Stay safe. Keep smoking. Peace and pot.